Hey everybody, this is Kane Wagner with the Appalachian ADV Community Podcast and owner of Appalachian ADV. And I'm here today talking to my new friend, Brad Smith, who's the Executive Director of PaOHV. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Kane?
I'm doing great. So to start this one off, I thought it'd be good to kind of set up how we met. Usually I kind of start where your beginnings, but I think I want to start like kind of how I stumbled on you guys. And that would be through our mutual friend who was also a big wig there with PaOHV for a while, Dick Lepley out of Street Track and Trail.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
Dick and I, we chat, pretty consistently, and we've, talked about all kind of power sports stuff. And he would always talk about PaOHV. And then when I went and looked at the website and I kind of took a deep dive, I realized right away that that was something I wanted to partner with Appalachian ADV with. Because you're fighting the good fight. You're out there, trying to get access for people to ride in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And I know, I think we discussed in the past that it's PaOHV, I think, is a bit more, people probably think of it more as a quad side-by-side, but you guys definitely have a motorcycle aspect to it. And my opinion was, talking to Dick and then talking to you, I think the power sports industry is much better off if we don't segment off and fight each other, if we work together and all jump in that fight, because we're all looking for the same thing. We want to have a good time out in the woods, and we need access to do that. So that's kind of how I stumbled on you guys. I'm looking forward to getting more involved and having a little bit more opportunities to open up for motorcycles in Pennsylvania. So
Yeah, absolutely. And PaOHV actually started off more OHM centric than ATVs and side by sides,
yeah,
and just the nature of the explosion of the popularity of the side by side market. We started to get a lot more clubs come on board that were ATV clubs as opposed to OHM. So it's a good mix now. We've got a Jeep club that's just joined with us as a sponsoring organization. So we're glad to have them.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think that power sports, we all need to get together. We need to have open, honest, transparent, and private discussions where we can vehemently disagree about, our differences and hash that out and come out from behind those closed doors and say, okay, here's what we as a whole group would like to see, and just kind of stand arm in arm, because if government can divide you, and it's not just power sports, it's whatever you're involved in. If government can divide you, they are weakening you. So get those things out front, have that conversation, and decide on a course of action and proceed.
Definitely. I can't agree more for sure. So, with that little setup at the beginning, let's go ahead and let's take a step back now, and let's get people to know you a little bit first before we dive further into PaOHV. So just give us a quick little history, like where you're from, where you're living, what do you do outside of this PaOHV kind of a thing, that kind of stuff, man.
Well, I was born and raised in Potter County, Pennsylvania.
Beautiful.
All through high school there. Loved it as a kid. Was always outdoors, running around the hills. Always a four-season kid. So we loved it all. And snow was one of my big things. I'm still a pretty avid snowmobiler. We had some ski slopes there in Potter County, and the ATVs and different motorcycles. Sometimes it wasn't a dirt bike, but we treated it like one. We were just sort of hillbilly kids. But I floated around for a little bit after high school, trying to decide what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted my own business. I did that for a while, just general contracting, and it was okay. But then I got married and had a child on the way, and health insurance became a larger requirement of my day-to-day living. So I got into the building trades. I was a millwright for a number of years. Traveled around a lot with that. Saw a lot of really cool stuff. Met some really great people.
Nice.
But also spent a lot of time living out of a suitcase. So that wasn't great. There's only so many options when you're somewhere where you don't know anybody. and you're working, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. What do you do in the evenings? And it's you sit in your motel room like a prison cell, or you go try and find something to do.
Yeah.
And it was kind of not a great traveling for a living. There's guys that love it. I did not. I struggled through it, but I always liked to travel, just not for work.
Yeah.
But
Exactly. Yeah.
so I got out of that. I got the opportunity to go to work at a powerhouse in Indiana, and I kind of always wanted a job as just I wanted to be the maintenance guy. But there were some, union rules and whatnot. You couldn't hire into maintenance. You had to hire in at uh, honestly, a shitty swing shift job and work that for 10 or 15 years and hopefully bid into maintenance.
Yeah.
And, but the maintenance supervisor at that particular plant was saying, hey, I'm on my way out. You ought to apply for this job. And so long story short, I got the job. I worked there 2 weeks. They announced it was an older coal-fired powerhouse. And they announced that, hey, we're gonna shut this plant down. So I thought, well, crap, what have I done? But I got several years in there during the process of running it and then decommissioning and the tear down of it.
Yeah.
Stayed with the same company, took a maintenance planner job with our facilities, so I take care of buildings and grounds and everything at several sites, make sure that our contractors are getting out to them, our preventative maintenance is being done, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that job became more and more remote. And of course, COVID, everybody went remote.
Yeah.
And I was able to rehome myself back in the Commonwealth and continue my employment, which it still works out well today.
Yeah.
So I'm back in Potter County. Started a local ATV club with a friend of mine from high school. We'd always kind of rode crappy dirt bikes together when we were kids, and there's an old railroad grade that sort of adjoined our houses. It was maybe 3 miles long, and that was sort of the natural gathering place for the kids with the bikes. You just sort of all ended up on that railroad grade and hung out and drove around. And so anyway, we started a local ATV club, Potter County ATV UTV club.
Yeah.
And gosh, it just spiraled out of control from there, Kane.
It tends to. It takes a hold, man, and it just drives your brain. Nothing else you can think about.
It does. Yep. So there were a lot of things as a rider, and I rode for years, different things. I always liked motors. And there were things that I just didn't think about, like, hey, where do your registration dollars go?
Yeah.
What about liquid fuels? Because I'm riding on the dirt, on this piece of property somewhere, but I had to go down and buy fuel at the gas station. So I took my 5-gallon can, and they, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is the highest in the nation. I believe 56.7 cents per gallon in state fuel taxes. Well, where the hell's my fuel tax money going? And nobody thinks about those things because you're just out there to ride and have a good time. And it's not an inexpensive sport. You can do a few things on the cheap, but eventually, once it takes hold of you, you want to have a little nicer machine. You want, you need some better gear. I want this, piece of technology on my helmet, things like that. So. But it just kind of spiraled into how do we get more opportunities? How are my dollars being spent?
Yeah.
And that led me to PaOHV, where it was an organization that was kind of struggling a little bit during COVID, like many organizations.
Yeah, for sure.
And the gentleman that was at the helm at that point was Dr. Jack Clark, super wise man. Very, very good friend of mine now. We've gotten to know each other. And, I just kind of jumped in to help. Jack had some health problems come along. Another gentleman stepped in to fill the role of executive director. And then pretty quickly his life changed. Everybody's got things going on. And it just became he was just overburdened and needed to shed some things. So
Yeah.
I was at that time, I was the assistant executive director and sort of inherited the executive director position and had a kind of what we all call an oh shit moment, like oh shit, what have I just signed up for? But it's good. It's working out well. We've got some ideas on how to grow the organization where we think we want to go. We'll just continue to plug along. So was actually just talking to our legislative director on the phone this morning,
Yeah.
and we see eye to eye on a lot of things, and one of them is I'm not sure there's very many things in my life that I've ever done alone.
Yeah.
So it takes a team of people to get things done. Gosh, if you can share the knowledge you have and be able to listen to feedback and receive other people's knowledge, and you keep communicating, eventually you can get some things done if you take it the go it alone approach. Anytime you're dealing with the government, again,
Yeah.
one individual has very, very little hold on their attention, where a group of people can garner at least some time in their schedule to sit down and talk with you. And that's what, you start with a conversation, you build a relationship, and see what transpires from there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm out of Ohio. My main LLC is out of Ohio. That's where I'm based. But for me to get some of those permits in Pennsylvania, I had to have a foreign LLC for Pennsylvania. So I've definitely tried to use that to like say, hey, I'm a small business. I have an LLC in these places and I do all these events in these places. And I try to give some of my impressions on what can help benefit adventure tourism in both states. But being like a sole proprietor LLC, kind of like you said, I just kind of get shoved into the gray zone, and then it just echoes with everybody else. So that really was a big reason why I wanted to, partner with the AMA and partner with PaOHV with you guys and some other, entities like that, because if I can synergy is better when you have more than one person, kind of like you said.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
that's definitely, I think for you guys, particularly for PaOHV, just from my conversations with Dick and the couple times I've talked to you, you have a really great history of good leadership with Dick and some of those other guys, and you have a really good rapport with all of them. Like you can call up Dick or any of those guys and say, hey, here's this thing that's going on. They know the history. They know what worked before, what didn't work. They know who to talk to. They know so many things. And it's those types of guys that want to be there in those spots and share that wealth of knowledge is what really helps the power sports industry the most. And I think kind of like you said, the gas tax point, I think that's a similar point for some of these organizations that people just don't realize everything that you're doing to fight for them.
Yeah, yeah, and the like I said, I had that hard look in the mirror and like, oh crap, what have I gotten into? I'm the executive director, and we've gotten a lot of gains in the last couple of years in the Commonwealth for power sports, and the reason we've gotten those are because of the leadership of PaOHV 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Brad is not some spectacular leader. I am just standing on the shoulder of giants that had the forethought to put in the hard work years ago that is now benefiting us.
Yeah.
It's hard to continually go back after you're told no, 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 this won't work. But these folks just kept after it and kept after it, and found people to continue on with it and stay involved even after they weren't active with the organization anymore. And I have some conversations with Dick a couple of times a year. Just shoot the breeze, ask for advice, get some history.
Yeah.
And Dick is one of the folks that ultimately led me to join with the National Off-Highway Vehicle Conservation Council, NOVAC,
Yeah.
which Again, I did, I got involved in another thing. So
Can't help yourself.
it keeps me busy, but I'm not happy unless I'm busy. So
Right.
I like to work my mind. I like to strategize. I like to just to stay busy and help where I can help.
Yeah. So if you can, for a minute, just so people fully understand kind of what PaOHV stands for, like what is like your mission or missions? I know there's more than one. Like what is PaOHV?
So we're a coalition of off-highway motorized users. Our mission is to represent the interest of Pennsylvania off-highway users in public and private activities. I just read that straight off our website because I was fumbling a little bit there.
That's funny.
So, we work with public and private land managers. We try and keep an eye on legislation and make sure, we're not only looking for the bad things that
Yeah.
can be slid into legislation, we're looking for those wins as well.
Yeah.
We, just try and keep that camaraderie across the gamut of motorized users. As I said, I'm a snow lover as well, and I'm an avid snowmobiler, member of the Pennsylvania State Snowmobile Association. And I think over the last couple of years, we've strengthened our relationship with the snowmobile side of things as well.
That's good.
PaOHV holds two seats legislatively on the Snowmobile and ATV Advisory Committee with DCNR. So there's a lot of value in that, and the
Yeah.
Snowmobile Association holds two seats as well. That's where we have our opportunity to make policy suggestions, talk about the needs in the state, ask for expansion opportunities, and just have that dialogue to have with the department where we can have that meeting, have those discussions, try and come up with a plan, and keep everybody informed.
Yeah. I think that's definitely like a huge thing. That I don't, I'm sure Dick had talked to me about that, but I just, when me and you talked and you kind of told me about those seats with DCNR, like I think that is such a huge thing to where you're sitting at the table with the people that really help control the access to what we can get into and build a reputation and a rapport and a relationship with those folks you can't get any bigger than that.
Yeah, yeah, it works well, and again, that on the shoulders of giants,
Yeah.
somebody had the forethought to actually, not just get the committee set up, not just get PaOHV a seat at the table,
Yeah.
but to get it in legislation that we have those seats.
Yeah.
That's pretty phenomenal in my opinion.
I agree. So I think I want to jump because I think that's a good point to make where we're saying people don't realize kind of if they want to be involved in some form or fashion, how can somebody like as an organization, I became a sponsor for
Mhm.
PaOHV. So there are opportunities for other people like me to do that. But just as a general person that likes to ride in Pennsylvania, is what can they do to become a member with PaOHV?
So a lot of folks are probably already members of PaOHV in an associate member status, and
Yeah.
they might not even know it. Some of the clubs are better than others about communicating that out. Uh,
Good.
one of the things I spearheaded as the assistant executive director was kind of a remake of our membership structure
Hmm.
to where our goal is to push the individual members out to their local clubs, so where they live or where they ride or both. We do accept individual members. We're happy to have them. We appreciate their support.
Yeah.
But if you could only do one thing, join your local club and get active with them, because those guys and gals are out there busting their hump,
Yeah.
talking with their township supervisors and county commissioners and doing trash cleanup days and
Yeah.
youth safety training and all of these things. And we have no shortage of need for volunteers at the PaOHV level or at the local club level.
Yeah.
So if a club joins as a supporting organization, all of that club's members become associate members. They're entitled to participate in the PaOHV meetings. Some of them share their membership lists with us. Some are, their bylaws prohibit them from sharing member information. So we rely largely on the clubs themselves to forward out the meeting invites and to make the information known to their members. So we do get asked a lot of times, how many members do you have? Crap, I don't know. We got a bunch.
Yeah.
But it's more about getting the clubs and the businesses together and to speak the same language and to have those numbers behind us of, we have X number of ATV clubs or X number of OHM clubs, and we can get those membership numbers, and ultimately if we can go to the table and say we represent 10,000 or 20,000 or 30,000 people across the Commonwealth,
Yeah.
those are numbers that will get noticed.
Nice. So, like, if you could, so I'm pretty sure we talked about this the last time I talked to you, just like what kind of legislation and like lobbying have you guys done in the past and maybe have seen some success with, just like a success story, even if it's just one thing, but anything like that that you can share.
Yeah. So to my snowmobile friends listening to the podcast, go take a bathroom break, turn the volume down. One of the things that PaOHV was able to do was to bifurcate the registration fund. It used to be that ATVs and snowmobiles were all lumped into one fund, and it was not working out well. And PaOHV saw that and saw a need to pass some legislation to split those funds up individually, so that ATV funds paid for ATV things, snowmobile funds paid for snowmobile things.
Yeah.
And if there's a joint use trail, we can commingle funds for the maintenance of that trail.
Sure.
And we're starting to get into some of that in the north central region, where we're using snowmobile trails in the summertime.
Yeah.
And we have to make sure that the aggregate and whatnot, the humps that get developed in that trail, they come through and actually grade that out and
Okay.
firm it back up for the snowmobiles.
Yeah.
But that was a good piece of legislation from an ATV standpoint, for sure. We have about 300,000 registered ATVs in the Commonwealth. It should be 2 or 3 times that, but the snowmobile side of things, it's less and less all the time. They're at about 40,000 registered snowmobiles in Pennsylvania. So, and now we're working with the DCNR on a registration reform. Registration is pretty reasonable in Pennsylvania. It's $10 a year, and it's a biennial registration, so $20 every 2 years.
Yeah.
Hasn't been touched since about 2001. So looking at a modest increase to the registration dollars, which ultimately makes more funds available to the clubs to purchase property, build trails, maintain trails, things of that nature.
Right. So what involvement did you guys have with the corridor trail system up there? So at this point, I just wanted to give you a little more background information. The ATV Regional Trail Connector in north central Pennsylvania was a program run through the DCNR that actually connects several ATV trail systems, Haneyville, Whiskey Springs, Susquehannock ATV trails, on a bunch of dirt and gravel. Some new trails were laid, and it actually also connects some of these small towns in the area. Really good way to bring in some adventure tourism money. So let's continue on with our conversation with Brad.
So that was spearheaded by a group in Clinton County, Central Mountain ATV Association, and they really pushed to make that happen. They've been members of PaOHV for a number of years.
Yeah.
And they had a good interest and a plan, and again, some great people working behind the scenes. The Potter County ATV Club came along as that system was put into legislation and beginning to be developed. So we got involved in that. And PaOHV has always been sort of an organization that can get you access at the state level, get your concerns heard. But it's almost like a system of federalism, right? Where we don't want to be the 800-pound gorilla that orders the local clubs around, right?
Right.
We want them to maintain their autonomy and do the things that they do best, because ultimately they know their county commissioners and their township supervisors a heck of a lot better than I do.
Mm-hmm.
And who am I to tell them what, or anybody or the organization as a whole to tell folks what they should or shouldn't do at a local level.
Yeah.
And we just want to be that information gathering place. We want to get everybody to the same table so that successes or challenges that folks have had in the north central region of the state can be shared with those in the southwestern region, or down in the southeastern region where there's not a lot of riding opportunities. What can we do there?
Yeah.
Same thing with the OHM side. We have a nice mix of some are enduro or dual sport focused. Some are more the strictly OHM. It triggered it with talking about the southeastern part of the state. I went down to the famous Freemansburg Hill climb last year. What a show that was! Gosh, if you've not ever been there, Kane, definitely go.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, it's worth going down. The folks at Bushkill Valley Motorcycle Club put on a phenomenal show down there, and it just I could send you some video clips of it, but that hill you can't do it justice in a video clip. You have to stand at the bottom of it and look up that thing and like,
Yeah.
holy crap, these guys are nuts.
So is there what do you have maybe coming down the pipe? Like any type of projects or any kind of legislation you guys are pushing for?
So currently, we're along with that registration. We're looking at the fuel taxes.
Okay.
So those haven't been touched in the same amount of time that registration fees haven't been touched. So
Wow, yeah.
as fuel taxes have risen, we're legislatively limited to how much rebate we can get, and we hit that ceiling easily every year. So we're looking for an increase there. We're looking to expand riding opportunities for everybody. OHM registration is a big one. There's really not a mechanism to register an off-highway motorcycle like there is an ATV.
Yeah.
And we'd like to see that change. We think that there's probably some opportunities to share trails with two wheels and four wheels, but there's also a need for some dedicated single track. Allegheny National Forest has some. For an OHM, an unregistered motorcycle, the Commonwealth itself, DCNR, has about 20 miles of OHM trail, which is woefully low. And the OHM guys are saying, give us a mechanism to pay. We want to pay. And they just they haven't been heard so well over the last several years. That's beginning to change. So our legislative director is looking into that in the Clinton County area. We can't make any promises on how that's going to work out, but we hope that there's some opportunities there to at least much like ATVs did in the North Central with the pilot program, which is now the North Central Regional ATV Trail Connector. If we can get a pilot established somewhere, and we can provide OHM a mechanism to register and to use some trails and to just proof of concept. Here we go. Here's the test case for it. And I have no doubt that it would be as successful as what the ATV pilot program was.
Yeah, and truthfully, after I signed up Appalachian ADV to be a sponsor, and you and I had a nice long chat, I should say, that was probably one of the most exciting things we talked about, was the fact that you guys have heard the call, because I'm doing motorcycle. It's adventure dual sport, so we're pretty much plated and registered bikes. But the more opportunities we can get in trails, the better. And I've talked to so many people that are saying, I would pay a couple extra bucks to have more access. Like, of course you would, because right now, Allegheny National Forest is kind of like a go-to, and Bald Eagle State Forest is they have a really good dual sport trail system there. But other than that, you're kind of limited to some private off-road places, spread throughout the state. But there's seems to be a lot more opportunities for quads and side-by-sides. So the fact that PaOHV and others out there are talking about the fact that we need to get some motorcycle involvement, it makes me super happy because, like, in my brain, being involved in adventure tourism in general, I don't understand why, if you're already allowing trail access, there's already trails out there, you're cutting off a ton of funding by not allowing motorcycles to go on some of these places. So
Yeah.
it's a no-brainer to me. I think it'll help gain a ton of money for the coffers and a lot more voices into the PaOHV and other organizations like that and other clubs out there, like, fighting the good fight. So I'm really happy to hear that that is something that's kind of at least being thrown around there.
Yeah, and PaOHV has been after that for a number of years.
Yeah.
We're just finally beginning to get some traction with the department and some legislators. We do get some pushback. There's a lot of groups that worry about the further fragmentation of the forest is one that and I'd like to point to the lumber barons that completely ravaged north central Pennsylvania to where there wasn't a tree left.
Yeah.
And all of the hillsides have been logged. They're all cut through with logging roads and administrative roads and things of that nature. So we're not, we're not advocating taking a bulldozer through pristine, forest land and blazing a trail.
Yeah.
There's plenty of existing out there, and one major win from the ATV pilot program was you can see it in charts and graphs. This as the miles of legal riding opportunities increased, road trail use decreased.
Right.
The more folks you have out there doing the right things, you can catch the chuckleheads that are doing the wrong things. But if you don't give people the opportunity to recreate on their land, they will find a way to recreate on their land.
Yeah.
So you can give it to them, or they can find other ways to do it. But
yeah, exactly. I've always been under the impression too, like, just from going to different ATV parks, whether it's private or public, like, and I'm not trying to be negative, but like the quads and side-by-sides, they have a bit more of an impact because there's four wheels. Bikes have two wheels. They're a lot lighter. They, of course, any power sports thing can kind of tear up the ground a little bit, but I feel like the bikes make less of an impression than the quads and the side-by-sides.
Yeah, and if your trails are properly constructed and maintained, really that shouldn't even be a large concern. So part of my involvement with the national organization Novak. Novak has some great literature out there on trail building, and one of the things is if you build it straight as an arrow, they're going to ride it like they were shot out of a bow, which makes a heck of a lot of sense.
It does, yeah.
Put some things in there to make it interesting for folks. Put some twists and turns and slow their pace down.
Yeah.
Give them some nice visuals and give them some interactive riding. Rather than just because you're looking for a thrill, and you can get that thrill through speed, but you can get it through a challenging trail as well. And it's the same thrill.
Yeah.
So which one's safer? I've got my own feelings.
Yeah.
And then we actually had some discussions with the AMA as well recently on OHM registration. So I think they're gonna try and help us out as much as they can. Met a couple gentlemen at the Novak conference this past October, and they were very interested in hearing what we had and what we didn't have in Pennsylvania. So a couple of the legislative guys from the AMA have been talking with us, and we've pulled in some of the off-highway guys, the OHM guys, because I like all motorsports. I've had bikes. I don't currently have one. I tend more towards the side-by-sides right now. adventure bike's been kind of pulling at me since I got my new buddy with the, but so part of you've got to know what you can do effectively and what you can't. And I can't be the most effective advocate for OHM if I'm not an OHM guy. So I've got to pull in somebody that is, somebody that can do that job.
Yeah.
And I've learned over the years that you can do a lot of harm to yourself if you have pride of ownership, right? So if I want to puff out my chest and say, I did this, I did that, you're just cutting yourself off at the knees.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I said earlier, bring that team together, put the right person in place that has the knowledge and the temperament and the willingness to put in the work and allow them to be successful, and then we all benefit from that.
Yeah, that's the collaboration equals synergy, and it's great to hear that organizations are willing to work together, like PaOHV and AMA, and I know there's an off-highway motorcycle association just being formed here in Ohio that the AMA was helping with that. Like that's the best way to make everything work better for everybody in power sports is to collaborate, I think, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. If we operate in a vacuum, we'll all be spinning our wheels, and we will get nowhere. If we come together, we can all make some progress. And once you get those few successes, it tends to build from there.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
We're in the beginning stages of applying for a grant to put together a strategic plan for PaOHV.
Okay.
I guess it's probably important to let people know that we're looking to, I guess, modernize and streamline PaOHV. We can get a lot of stuff done shooting from the hip, but we really need a roadmap to get there.
Yeah.
So we're going to participate in that process, which will hopefully build into some better things and focus our efforts. So
that's great. So where can people find PaOHV? So what's the website address? Like, do you have social media, that kind of stuff?
We're pretty lightly active on social media. We do have a Facebook account. PaOHV.org is the best place to find us. We're in the middle of updating the website there. We've done that on a volunteer basis for a number of years. And shout out to BDR, who actually granted the funds to us to build that website initially. And we've hired someone to manage that website for us, who's a professional. That's what they do for a living. So we're going to do some substantial updates to it over the next year. But there's a lot of great information on there, and some contact information for us, our email or phone number on there. But yeah, that'd be the first place I'd go, would be to PaOHV.org.
Awesome. If you're interested in power sports and you're interested in access to riding, get out there, join your local club. If you don't have a local club, or if you're maybe somebody like me and you're out of Ohio and you're not in Pennsylvania, go on the website and become a member. Or if you have a nice little adventure tourism business, think about partnering with PaOHV, especially if you're doing any type of rides and events in there. So my thing is, just like we started this thing out, we should all be fighting together as opposed to fighting each other. So I'm super happy to hear everything that PaOHV has done, is doing, and is looking at trying to accomplish in the future. So I appreciate you coming on today, Brandon.
Yeah. I thank you for having me. And part of that is having a plan on where you're going to go. So and we're in the beginning stages of that now. We've convinced the department that we should be eligible for a grant for a strategic plan as the statewide recognized body for off-highway vehicles. And after some internal discussions, they decided that we would indeed at least be allowed to apply. So we're looking at getting a strategic plan put together to guide our efforts, keep us a little more focused on task, something to keep us accountable, not just to ourselves, but to our members as well. We look forward to reaching out to our member clubs and member organizations for feedback, but also those that aren't members, like, hey, what's keeping you from joining? what things would you like to see happen? And then we can rank those. We can we can just develop that plan to have future successes. And if in a few years when somebody else is at the head of this organization, they'll be able to call me whenever they need, but they'll have at least a roadmap of what we thought it would take to get from A to B. So we're looking forward to that process as well.
Brad, well, I appreciate you coming on today, man, and I look forward to seeing what you guys keep doing, man.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Kane. It's good talking with you, and maybe we'll get together. You can give me some pointers on adventure bikes.